Wanna move my feet. Wanna drop my one. Wanna move my feet.
Welcome at Webhelden 2021. I'm Roelof Hemme. We're about to discuss e-commerce in 2021, before, during and after COVID-19, about growing while the world's on fire. You're about to meet four magnificent people, but first there's another magnificent woman, Suzanne Eikelendstam, the founder of Webhelden.
Thank you for watching this second episode of 2021. I'm convinced that you will be as impressed with our lineup as I am. Last week, I'd invited founders only. This week, I've invited one founder and 3 board members. When we interviewed Taco Carlier, the founder of Van Moof, last week, he was convinced that the companies performing best during and after this crisis will be the companies that are led by entrepreneurs such as himself. I'm very curious to find out what today's guests think of that remark. Enjoy this show.
At the table, Sharon Hilgers, founder at My Jewellery, started creating jewellery as a kid, as a 12-year-old, I believe. Now she has 400 people working for her, but still creating jewellery, right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
In your little room, making
No,
nice
not in a
things.
little room. We have like a very nice building for our buying team, and yes, I'm creating every day, as content till designs till everything.
And Philip Mountford is here, CEO and co-owner at Hunkemöller. Loves lingerie, loves the catwalk, is preparing this famous Dutch brand for the future. Catwalk. What do you like about the catwalk?
I think, to be honest with you, the ability to show diversity and glamour on a catwalk I think is the most sensational thing.
And being on it.
Yeah, that's also fun as well. Yeah, that's also
Richard Flint, COO at HEMA, another famous Dutch brand, loves HEMA, is a globetrotter, but is grounded because of COVID-19. While you're responsible for all international activities of HEMA, this is so sad.
Yeah, it's been a challenging year, but it also lets you do things quite differently. We will talk a lot today, I'm sure, about remote working, empowering teams a lot more, and actually it's made me a darn sight healthier because I'm not stuck in air cabins, I'm not eating too much in lounges or probably drinking a bit too much, so yeah, it's good.
Okay, advantage of COVID-19. And Rodney Lam is here, CEO, co-owner at Daily Paper, and an actor and a screenwriter. That's a curious combination.
Yeah, I just like to do fun stuff with fun people, enjoying myself and make some money along the way.
Which is what of your activities is more fun to do, or the most fun to do?
I like to do everything. So it's if I would only do movies, I would get very bored. If I would only do the daily paper business, I would like to do a catwalk once.
It will probably happen.
Yes, right.
Welcome all of you. I'm honored to have you at my table. Philip, CEO of Hunkemöller, co-owner, Dutch brand founded in 1886, sells in Europe, Middle East, Asia, North Africa. Is there still, it's American owned and partly by you. Yeah. So what is still Dutch at Hunkemöller? Values, or what is Dutch in Hunkemöller?
Well, really, at the end of the day, we were a Dutch business. I mean, okay, we were owned by Carlyle. Prior to that, we were owned by PAI. Before that, we were owned by KKR. So we've been owned by a number of private equity companies. At the end of the day, we're a Dutch lingerie brand, and we're super proud of it.
How can you see it's a Dutch brand?
I think at the end of the day, it's not about seeing a Dutch brand. At the end of the day, our handwriting is young and fashionable, and basically just demonstrates that basically, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If your brand is relevant, it's relevant, and we really got an international group of people. But we're really proud of being Dutch. Really proud of being Dutch.
2019 was a wonderful year, double-digit growth.
Yep.
2020.
Can just about remember that. Yeah.
2020 was not your best year, I believe. COVID forced you to close most of your stores, caused a debt of hundreds of millions. How's it going now?
Yeah, I mean, people talk about our debt. We've always had debt. We're a private equity business which always lives off debt. Let's be clear about that. At the end of the day, banks put debt into businesses like mine. We're a private equity business. It's all driven by EBITDA and debt multiples. There's always lots of talk about our debt level. Yes, it is high, but actually, we're still allowed to really run the business on our own. But the business is really growing, and we saw a huge transformation. We were always a very digital business. We were click and collect, check and reserve, order in store, fulfillment from store, all the omni-channel elements which we basically delivered earlier than most other people. And we're seeing our turnover on e-com more than 1 million a day. Let's be clear about that. So we've got a very dynamic and great e-com business that has basically bridged the gap of some of the failures in stores.
Really? You have 940 shops, right? 19 countries. So why do you have shops?
I also ask myself that as well. No, at the end of the day, I think we are an omni-channel business. There is still a real need with ladies' lingerie to have physical presence. Our customer is young, she's dynamic. I think trying on ladies' underwear is really one of the most important things. I think e-com is a great asset. We've got over 12 million members. 75% of all of our sales are done by one of our members, so we can track them, we can trace them. We can data mine them, and yes, we've been able to move them from physical stores into digital stores during this pandemic. And yes, do I hope that we have less stores in the future? The answer to that is yes.
How many?
I don't know, but certainly it will not be 900 stores in the next 3 years.
What is the ratio now in 2021 between?
Well, it's well in excess 50% on e-com, but that's because the stores have been closed. But I think probably at the end of the year we will be between 35 and 40% of our business will be e-com only.
So, did COVID give you this kickstart you maybe needed?
Yes, absolutely. Well, we were already a big e-com player anyway, so we were already well in excess of 20% already before we went into COVID. But there's no question about it. We really optimised it, and we really put money behind all the digitalisation. We put money into retail. We put money into advancements on order in store. We put advancements on click and collect and dispatch from stores. So we did a lot of investment when other people were pulling back on capex, so we really drove it through that period of time and really made sure that we could optimise all of the things that we were planning to do through that COVID period.
Because of your mission to prepare Hunkemöller for e-com, even before COVID was here, right? So that's an advantage now.
Yeah, there's no question. We were in the right position, and then basically COVID has taken us into superdrive. So there's no question about that.
So how did you facilitate the growth on e-com? Probably it has surprised you in some ways in the beginning, definitely. So how did you arrange for a good supply chain, for example, which is a big problem for many companies these days?
To be honest, your supply chain has also all been some of our issues. I mean, at one point we were growing at such a rate that even our third-party facilitators couldn't keep up. So that's why we started to move and also research how we could also facilitate dispatch from stores. So we needed to find a mechanism so that we could really grow.
How did you do that?
Well, investing through Salesforce in new digitalization to allow us to be able to use our stores as fulfillment centers. So we've always had a very big click and collect business. So even before COVID, Holland, we had over 40% of every e-com sale was collected in the store. So that already helped us. So when we moved over into, or we were forced to close certain stores, we were already in a position that we'd already invested in click and collect, check and reserve, order in store, and fulfillment from store.
What are you going to add to this basket of possibilities to order your the Hunkemöller products? I read in the preparation to this program about a video chat.
Yeah.
Does it work?
Yeah, it does. We've launched.
How does it work?
Yeah, I mean, basically, you go onto our website, you click on a product, and you can push a button which takes you straight through to a sales operative in a store, and they will literally walk you around the store. You can tell them to stop, and then basically the camera can sense what the product is. You scan the product into the phone in the store, and it populates into the customer's basket on their computer at home. So. Cool stuff.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Is this the future?
Yeah, I think all of these things. We've tried lots of things through our time. Some of them have been super successful, and some of them have been extremely expensive and generated zero. So let's be honest with you. I'm not scared to invest, and not all the time they come off. I'd love to tell you everything always is successful.
Tell me everything. But what did you do wrong in COVID?
I think, at the end of the day, anybody that tells you that they didn't panic at the beginning, then they lied. I think we all sat there on the first week the first week we sat there and said, how do we get our product out of China? So no one thought it was coming to Europe. We were more worried about how could we get our product out of China? Could we change our supply base? And then suddenly it's in our back door. And then suddenly we were sitting there saying, what do? We were already heavily debt driven, so and we're on a debt multiple, so we had to really look at what can we do to conserve cash, and we quickly started to do all cost savings. What we did, I think, well, was that really after 6 weeks, we said, right, we're coming out of this quicker than most people. What we need to do is accelerate our capex spend and invest in the future, and that future was all about digitalization.
So this is one thing you did right. Actually, I asked for what you did wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about some of the things. One of the things I've been criticised was that we were one of the first people to say that we weren't going to pay rents or we're only going to pay. And I've spent 12 years here. One of the things I've been very proud of is that I've always stayed underneath the radar. This is the first time that I haven't stayed under the radar. I'd like to have stayed under the radar. I still did the right thing for our business. Maybe I shouldn't have been the first person in Holland to send a letter out. But anyway, I've never been shy at being the first.
You did a few remarkable things, remarkable choices to the brand. You said goodbye to Dawson Cruz and Sylvie Mais. You welcomed Ducky Todd, who's from South Sudan, Australian descent. Plus size Danielle van der Gondelle from Rotterdam, the Netherlands. What is your statement with these choices?
I think beauty has changed. And I think that we really have to be clear about that. Beauty has changed. Beforehand, there was a one-dimensional beauty, and now I think there really is a three-dimensional beauty. What has come out of COVID is inclusion, diversity, and sustainability. They're the three key elements that really have gone into hyperdrive in COVID. And we're really proud about what we've done on inclusion and diversity. We started our first show 4 years ago. So this is not something that's just happened now. We started this 4 years ago where we said, the industry is wrong. We need to make sure that we show women of all shapes and sizes, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And it was the best thing we've ever done. And we've differentiated ourselves from other traditional lingerie players who've stuck to a one-dimensional view of beauty.
And what's the next move?
I think at the end of the day, it is making sure that we're always staying relevant, and inclusion, diversity, sustainability, I think, is really now one of the key elements as well. So 2 years ago, we were at 5% of our collection was sustainable. Next year, we'll be at 25% of our collection will be sustainable, and we're now looking at what is the stretch. We need to be a more sustainable brand. Our consumers are demanding it. They're not asking for it now; they're demanding it.
And when are we going to see women models with imperfections?
We already use lots of women with imperfections. Imperfections is the wrong word. I think at the end of the day, what we need to have is diversity, and we have models of different shape, colour, religion, etc. And it is making sure that our models are relevant to our consumers. Our consumers are very diverse.
I think, Rodney, you recognize this need for diversity and inclusiveness.
Yeah, but I think that it's different for us because we are the minority. Like,
you are CEO of a black-owned company.
Yeah.
55 employees, 3 stores, one of them in New York.
It's 100
one in
now.
100. It's 100. I checked this a couple of days ago.
Yeah. We have to update it somewhere. I don't know where.
This is growth. Okay, 199 points of sale. More probably.
Yeah,
29
more.
countries.
Yeah.
You described Daily Paper as a movement more than a company. If this is a movement, then where is it moving to?
I think it's the story that we tell. Daily Paper is, I'm not really the customer because I'm a
It's
little
what you wear, right?
Well, it's the style that I wear, but it's not. This is not Daily Paper actually. I get so much clothing from the factory, so I wear everything. That's free. But it's those second, third culture kids that have parents that come from somewhere else, They live in Amsterdam, they live in Rotterdam. That's how it started, and they bring all the cultures together, and you know, it's a statement, like, this is us. And if you can identify, please join us. And that's the movement, just showing who you are, showing that the world has changed. Like what you said, it's changing, and people are recognizing that. So not only in fashion, but also in movies and in everything, that you can see it.
So who wears daily paper?
Well, it started with kids. It started from 18 till 24, but now we see that it shifted. It shifted from, I see it, you know, when I pick up my kid, my little one from school, he's 11, all his friends are wearing it, but I also see a lot of older people my age that are wearing it now. So,
I saw Michelle Obama wearing.
Yeah, she's a little bit
daily
older
paper.
than I am. Yeah, a little, you know, and it's great, you know, it's and that's the real recognition in for our brand, you know, is that everybody can wear it. It's inclusion.
I saw Michelle Obama
Yeah.
wear it. I saw Suzanne. Michelle has the jacket.
Yeah.
Suzanne has the
Oh, yeah, the
trousers.
trousers. It's beautiful, and it looks really well on you.
Look at this.
Oh, great.
And Richard is wearing the sweater.
Yeah, thank you for your money.
I'm a core customer.
But is that okay?
Yeah.
People like Richard and Suzanne.
Yeah, that's what Daily Paper is all about.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what I said. You know, I looked at LinkedIn and behind the scenes of your show, and I was telling my people internally, like, I want to do something that so that people can see how diverse we are within the company. We have everybody there. We have the white male, we have black women in management, and so everybody's represented within the company. So why not outside of the company?
Yeah. Is that what appeals to you, Richard?
I like it. And I think now it doesn't really matter what age you are. If you like what the values of the brand are and it's accessible, you buy it.
It's
Yeah.
not really cheap, is it?
It's cheap enough. When you go to the Bijenkorf or you go to Lafayette or Selfridges, we're one of the cheaper brands.
Okay.
So,
How was your year to date? 2021, Q1.
Q1 was different than 2020, because 2020 we went through the roof. But I think the evening curfew did something mentally with the people, and they got more afraid. They got fed up with sitting at home, and we're not complaining because we do really well, but still we saw that
Double digits, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been double digiting for years, but the first quarter, it's the first time we didn't double digit, by the way. So we didn't do double digits in 2020, but we still had a spectacular growth. But 2021 first quarter was like everybody was a little bit fed up with everything.
But how is that possible? Because e-commerce is there.
Yeah.
So why didn't people buy your product through e-commerce?
Well, it's a little bit my fault too. Just talking about my weaknesses, but one of the first things that I did when COVID came around is I downscaled the production, and you can't sell what you don't have. So that's we ran out of stock.
Oh,
first quarter.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it is. So, but still, I'm not.
What did you
complaining.
expect then?
Well, it's
Total
not what
collapse.
not that, but it's not what I expected. It's I expected less than the market demanded. That's for sure. But there's this. You're responsible for 100 people working there, so you have to be really careful with your money. And I'd rather make this mistake than having too much stock and not selling it and go out of business. So, but yeah, I guess wrong.
So is this wrong?
No, we also did similar things. At the end of the day, no one knew what was going to happen at the beginning of COVID, and no, I always said there would never be a second lockdown. I said no government will allow a second lockdown. They won't be able to afford it. And now in some countries we're in our third and fourth. So let's be honest with you. I mean, we had a tough time at Christmas. We sell party wear. Second week in December, they close everything down.
Yeah.
So it's not just about closing stores down. No one went to a party. And again, with Daily Paper, it's a cool brand. You wear it out. If you don't go out, you don't buy. Certainly, you don't buy a Christmas Diamante bra if you're not going to a party. So all of us had issues, and we are still going to have to tidy up. I think most brands will still have to tidy up in 2021. We're coming out of COVID now, but still we were talking about it earlier. Germany still has no date to reopen. So we had a fantastic few days in Holland.
Well, we're doing really good in Germany, by the way. It's strange.
And what is your ambition with Daily Paper? Let's commercially, of course.
Yeah.
But maybe also for society, as you described your company as a movement.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm really proud of is our management team, which consists out of a lot of women. I think 80% is women, and a lot of colored women in it. And I think, showing the world that a company can do double-digit growth with a management team that diverse sends a message out that it's a good hire.
Yeah. Richard agrees very much. I can see it. Yeah. But how does your company look?
It's not as diverse, sure. But if you look at the cultures and countries, we're now in Qatar, we're now in Dubai, we're now in Saudi Arabia, we're now in Mexico. So we have advocates of the brand that are completely more diverse than HEMA was a decade ago. So we're managing the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. And commercially, where are you heading?
Well, I like to hit $1 billion at one time.
$1 billion euros.
Euros. But dollars is also fine. I'll say it in yen if it's $1 billion.
When, Rodney? When?
It will take us some time, but maybe I think it's achievable 2027, somewhere. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Is that realistic? What do you think?
I think all brands, I've seen real brands really emerge out of nowhere, and I think it's a super cult brand. It really is. I think Daily Paper has hit it on the head. They've got great branding, a great brand following. Yeah, why not?
$1 billion in 2027.
Yeah, why not? Supreme was a tiny brand that was a cult brand. Daily Paper's a cult brand. I think Daily Paper's got more legs than Supreme had. So
how are you going to get there? E-commerce or more stores?
Well, so we have some stores, but those are flagship stores. It's more like our stores are marketing, just for everybody to see, and we do a lot of events. The store that we opened in New York has a roof terrace where we do parties. We're opening one in the UK next month. So, but I think 70% of our income is through e-com, and then the rest is wholesale, and you still need that. So, if I can't predict the future, but I would. It's a good formula.
So how are you going to get there? Through marketplaces, and what marketplaces? What are you planning to use? What are you using at this point?
Sorry,
what marketplaces are you using at this point?
Do you mean like channels?
Yes.
We sell a lot through Instagram, Facebook. That's a really big marketing channel. Hopefully one day you'll learn me how to do it with TikTok, but we need to get there.
Yes, how many on TikTok? How many followers?
75K followers now.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And but what we're trying to do now is to the customers that we get in. Create the online community. We've been an offline community so far. So when we do parties, everybody comes. We had a party here, and it was like we had to send people away. And now you need to digitalize these people and bring them into an online community, which is different.
That's Instagram, that's TikTok, and
I don't think it's Instagram. I don't think that Instagram is the future.
No,
I don't think.
I don't think TikTok is the future.
I don't believe in any other platform than the community that you create yourself.
Okay.
Because at this point, all these marketing channels are keeping your customer hostage. You have to pay to communicate with your own customer. So what you want to do is use apps or bring them into your news cycle with your newsletters. I think that's a better way to communicate with your customers. You can tell them much more.
And where are you in creating your own channels?
Yeah, what we did, one of the first things that we did when COVID broke out is we started Unite Hub, which is an online platform for daily paper to connect with everybody all over the world. And that's where we push our story, the stories of our customers, and just tell people in Germany what happens in the UK, or a lot of people look at us for the news that we have from Ghana or South Africa. And we see that they're connecting. And one of the things that was really amazing is that in our newsletter cycle, we did two. One from the Unite Hub with the people that connect with the Unite Hub, and one with the whole customer base. And we made more money. I think the Unite Hub is 20% of our base. We made more money on that base, the Unite Hub base, than all the other customers. With how many followers, or how do you call it? No, I think we're at 380,000 followers on Instagram. That's a rough number. Our newsletter is also 300K and growing really fast. And we're trying to get to 1 million for the end of the year, because we see that rapid growth, especially now with COVID. People really want to connect to you through Instagram or Facebook or your own platform, your own website.
Yeah, this is what you want, your own channel probably.
Yeah.
More than Instagram or TikTok. Yeah. You agree?
I think it's an and. I think owndomain.com with marketplaces, you asked that question.
Yeah.
It's an and world. I don't think you can afford to be just singular channel. But I do agree. You do need to be on all the social. We talked earlier collectively. Social's a great galvanizer of revenue.
It is.
So you need to be where customers are.
Yeah. But we use social mainly for new customers to bring them in. And once they're in, we try to educate them about the brand through our own communication means.
1 billion in 2027. That keeps ringing in my head. You're not a typical CEO. We discussed it earlier. You're an actor, a screenwriter. Your movie Suriname came out last year, I believe. And I was wondering, how does one job, being an actor and a screenwriter, affect the other job of being a CEO?
Well,
or vice versa?
I really, because Daily Paper was a happy accident. I wanted to. I started out doing consultancy 1 to 4 hours a week, and it became bigger and bigger and bigger. And then in 2019, I just said to my partners, like, guys, I really need to do something else, because all this managing stuff is fine, but I need a break. So I just produced a movie. I wrote a movie and I produced it, and. Just to get my mind just to get my mind off managing a company all the time. Yeah.
Does it ever occur to you, Philip, you want to make a movie or do what else do you what do you do that does not really fit your job description?
Well, I certainly don't have the same interesting life. No, I mean I'm an ex-sports person, so I still play a lot of sports. I was in the England athletics team, but now I'm a very average golfer, a very average squash player, and a very average paddle player. So, but anyway, at least I enjoy it.
For you, it's sports. What is it for you, Rich?
I like to de-stress with boxing. So I fight 3 times a week.
You fight?
Yeah, in the ring.
You fight?
Wow. I fight, yeah.
I mean...
yeah.
On your head also?
With the right equipment.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't do, overage boxing fights like a lot of people do, but I like to train. I coach 2 soccer teams, my daughters. In Amsterdam and another one. So yeah, I'm a passionate sports guy.
I'm not thinking about making a movie.
No, not yet.
We can make one together if you want.
What is your next project?
I'm producing a movie now. We're starting shooting in August, and it's about this really fun blonde kid who plays soccer, and she has a stepdad. Her mother has passed away. And his stepdad is colored, so it's a really strange situation. Him trying to adopt her. That's the movie.
Okay, when does it come out?
I think somewhere February 2022. Yeah, just finished the script, so...
Yeah, and don't forget about your billion. Sharon Hilgers, founder and CEO of My Jewellery, 15 stores, 400 employees. On your request, we'll do this interview in Dutch. 2020 was een goed jaar, hè?
Ja, heel raar nou om in Nederlands te praten.
Mag in het Engels, als je je comfortabel voelt.
Ja, ik zit er nou wel bijna in, maar nee, het Nederlands was beter voor mij. Nee, 2020 was een heel goed jaar. We hadden een bepaald doel gezet en die hebben we gehaald. En, ja.
Ja, alsof het vanzelf ging, zeg je
Het ging niet vanzelf, maar ja, uiteindelijk met de juiste koerswijziging ging het toch wel weer rollen.
Ja, oké, maar goed, we zitten nu natuurlijk in een andere situatie. We hebben een lockdown gehad, de winkels zijn dicht geweest. Geen feestjes, zoals Philip net al vertelde. Wanneer koop je sieraden? Feestjes. Ja. Hoe was het eerste kwartaal van dit jaar?
Ja, niet hetzelfde als wat we vorig jaar hadden gedaan. Dus we zagen eigenlijk rond deze tijd vorig jaar echt een stijgende lijn omdat de lockdown en iedereen zat thuis en ging online shoppen.
Maar wat betekende dat voor jouw business?
Nou, nog niet zoveel, want het gaat nog steeds heel erg goed. Alleen het was gewoon, we hadden eigenlijk die lijn vanaf december een beetje doorgetrokken. Van dan komt dat eerste kwartaal ook alweer goed.
En toen viel het een beetje tegen.
Maar ik denk dat vooral die avondklok, dat die mensen dus echt inderdaad 's avonds thuis moeten blijven. Dat gewoon de koopkracht heeft beperkt uiteindelijk. Ja.
En je wholesale klanten hebben natuurlijk niks
winkels
gedaan.
Dicht, ja.
Hoe houdt je bedrijf zich daaronder? 400 medewerkers in winkels, in magazijnen, webshop natuurlijk. Ja. Hoe houden die mensen zich eronder?
Heel snel schakelen en voor andere werkzaamheden ook zorgen, toch? Dus we hebben een sales team, die konden de winkels natuurlijk niet langs. Die zijn andere werkzaamheden gaan doen. Ja, ik vind dat altijd wel lekker uiteindelijk dat we daar toch die flexibiliteit kunnen behouden en daarop weer kunnen inspelen. Ja. Nu gaat het weer goed, de winkels zijn weer open, winkelen op afspraak, de goede retailers doen het ook weer goed. Dus ik moet zeggen dat het alweer voelt alsof het weer achter de rug is. Maar ja, het is natuurlijk wel gewoon heel raar geweest weer.
Wat was voor jou het grootste, of wat is voor jou het grootste COVID-probleem? Wat stelt jou voor de grootste uitdaging?
Nou ja, wij hebben 17 winkels nu. En die zijn gesloten geweest. Maar dat is wel het aantal wat je online nog kan gaan compenseren. Dus als je 200 winkels hebt, dan kan je dat online natuurlijk moeilijk compenseren. Dus wij zien wel dat we gewoon nog steeds totaal het goed hebben gedaan uiteindelijk. Dus mijn grootste COVID-probleem is uiteindelijk die huren die je liever niet betaalt. Medewerkers die natuurlijk thuis zitten uit de winkels. Dat is natuurlijk wel een ding. Maar ook wel, ik denk ook wel van het voelt bijna alsof je dan weer iets aan het herhalen bent van vorig jaar, dat je niet zo in paniek schiet of zo. Dus ik denk van dit hebben we vorig jaar ook meegemaakt.
Jij bent er heel goed doorgekomen.
Sorry?
Jij bent er heel goed doorgekomen, denk ik, in vergelijking met anderen. Ja. Het ontmoeten van klanten is natuurlijk heel belangrijk in de 17 winkels die je hebt. Maar dat is een tijdje niet gebeurd. Je hebt waanzinnig veel volgers op Insta, je hebt waanzinnig veel volgers op TikTok. Is dat voor jou ook de redding geweest? Dat je toch gewoon je mensen kunt blijven ontmoeten en kunt blijven verkopen? Ja,
zeker. E-commerce gedreven uiteindelijk.
Hoe heb je dat verbeterd in COVID?
Alle budgetten online gezet natuurlijk. Maar ook juist, want we zitten nu op tv dan en we hebben wat billboards. Ja, ook toch die offline exposure proberen te genereren, zodat men weer online gaat shoppen. Dus eigenlijk gewoon die marketingkraan eigenlijk iets harder open te draaien om op dezelfde omzetten uit te komen. Dus de marketingkosten zijn zeker wel omhoog gegaan.
Dus je omzet stijgt, maar je winst blijft een beetje achter bij de omzet. Dat is het gevolg van al die
je maakt iets meer kosten. Ja. Want je maakt natuurlijk de kosten van die winkels die gesloten zijn, van die teams die niet aan het werk kunnen. En je wilt het extra online gaan opvangen, dus je zet extra die marketingkraan open, dus je maakt meer kosten. Voor dezelfde omzet.
Rodney legde net uit dat voor hem is Instagram niet de toekomst.
Nee, ik denk ook niet. Ik denk dat je inderdaad als merk gewoon, wat Richard zegt, you have to be where the customer is. Ik denk dat gewoon heel belangrijk is. En daarom zijn wij in 2015 winkels gaan openen wel. Omdat je wilt als die meiden aan het lunchen zijn, en we zijn natuurlijk nog heel Nederlands minded, zeg maar, dan wil je daar ook zijn, waar die meiden een drankje doen en waar ze lunchen. En dat maakt dat je dus inderdaad overal zichtbaar moet zijn. En dat is nu TikTok.
En nu is het TikTok. En wat doe je dan op? Hoe doe je dat op TikTok? Volgens mij heb je je nieuwe collectie gepresenteerd op TikTok.
Ja, klopt.
Hoe dan?
Er was een collectie die je dus alleen via TikTok naar kon gaan. Dus een soort van beveiligde omgeving. En de link stond dan op TikTok. Dus dan kon je via TikTok... dat heeft ervoor gezorgd dat we heel veel extra volgers op TikTok kregen. Dus iedereen vanuit Instagram en Facebook. En via advertising wel gestuurd op... oké, we hebben onze nieuwe collectie gelanceerd. En je kunt hem alleen via TikTok bewonderen. En zo is iedereen eigenlijk gelijk ons ook op TikTok gaan volgen. Dus dat aantal is weer gegroeid.
Hoeveel volgers had je ook weer op TikTok?
Ja, 75.000 nu.
Okay.
Dus dat is nog niks in vergelijking met Instagram en zo. Maar het is zeker een mooie start. En we moeten nog een beetje gaan onderzoeken van wat willen onze volgers nou op TikTok zien. Dus we zijn heel veel met de challenges bezig. Maar we merken ook dat we maken het ook best wel persoonlijk. Dat ik vragen beantwoord over hoe ik ben gestart. Want je ziet toch heel veel jonge meiden die ook iets willen starten. Nou, dan proberen we dat te inspireren op die manier. Ja. Dat werkt ook heel goed. Dus soms gaan een paar van die video's best wel viraal met 200.000 views. En dan denk ik, dat is best wel grappig dat ze daar dan juist zo geïnteresseerd in zijn. Dus ja, dat is nog een beetje trial and error hoe we dat goede invulling geven.
En wat is dan de volgende stap als je het over je online kanalen hebt?
Wij gaan wel die marketplace richting op nu, internationaal. Dus we willen eigenlijk, we gaan nu met Zalando samenwerken vanaf augustus. En dat is onderdeel van onze internationale strategie, dat we dan juist wel die marketplaces aangrijpen. Voor Nederland doen we dat bewust niet, omdat we daar een bepaalde exclusiviteit op ons eigen kanaal willen behouden. En ook vooral op
en waarom zou je dat dan niet voor Duitsland ook laten gelden? Of ook voor België ben je ook bezig?
Ik denk dat we daar nog in een andere fase zijn. Daar hebben we natuurlijk nog niet de bekendheid die we in Nederland hebben uiteindelijk. Dus daar moeten we echt nog onderaan gaan bouwen aan het merk. En ik denk dat stukje vertrouwen winnen in Duitsland heel belangrijk is. En ik denk dat dat lukt door samen te werken met bedrijven. Toch met
Zalando bijvoorbeeld.
Ja.
En dan bouwen en dan je eigen kanalen.
Ja.
Dit is een tussenstap.
Je wilt je eigen, hoe noem je het, je eigen merk en omgeving sterk houden. En je zet erop uit wat nodig is en wat je tot een bepaald niveau brengt. En dan kijk je weer opnieuw naar de situatie. Wat gaan we in deze fase weer doen? Zo is dat ook in Nederland een beetje gaan.
Want wij spraken elkaar in het najaar ook. En toen hadden we het ook over Duitsland en over België. Maar eigenlijk vooral over je ambitie om de hele wereld te veroveren.
Ja. Maar het gaat bij ons wel stap voor stap. En ik voel me daar op zich ook wel lekker bij, hoor. Dus het is gewoon, we zijn nu bezig met het openen van winkels in Nijmegen, Leiden, Den Haag. Dat is allemaal nog in Nederland. Dat spel hebben we zeker nog niet uitgespeeld. En dan gaan we de grens over. En heb ik daar ook weer tijd voor een ruimte. En ik denk dat ik het ook niet allemaal alleen kan. Dus ik ben ook nog best wel op zoek naar echt wel hele goede mensen. We hebben echt wel goede mensen, maar er moeten er echt nog wel een paar bij. En dan denk ik dat we dat kunnen.
I think you guys understand everything she says.
Yeah.
So how many years in the Netherlands?
12 and a half.
12, and for you, Richard?
8 years.
8
It's
years.
a shame you can't speak Dutch now, because I used to live in Paris.
I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old as well, so I have to learn, or
After
they speak
6
to each
months
other.
in Paris, I could speak French.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
But I used to be a French
We
teacher.
decided not to do that.
Yeah.
Language advantage. Yeah.
Wat zou jou 2021 perfect maken?
De planning is nog 10 winkels. Ik hoop dat we relevant blijven. Ik denk dat je nummer 1 taak is iedere dag. Daar sta ik voor op. En totdat ik bij wijze van spreken ga slapen, ben je daarmee bezig. En ik denk dat als je dat creëren centraal stelt, dat het succes daar wel ook uit voortvloeit uiteindelijk. Dus gewoon leuke dingen doen, mooie dingen doen.
Wil je ook naar een miljard?
Ja.
Ja.
Samenhand.
Ja. Waarom niet?
Ja, waarom niet?
Richard, COO at HEMA, responsible for all international activities, worked for Nike, for Marks and Spencer's, always in international jobs, always abroad, always in airplanes. We discussed it. You explained that you unstress through boxing. I was wondering, could you take us back to online? Online exploded when COVID arrived. How did you cope with that at HEMA?
Focused. I think a big lesson we learned was to focus very quickly. So we were seeing Black Friday numbers every day. We were closing stores like Philip alluded to, and the consumer shift just happened. So we already had a good online business, but we basically pulled business plans forward. So what we were managing was capacity, fulfillment and demand in a very fast-paced environment. And that was sometimes challenging, but out of it came real focus, and we've seen great growth.
So 2020 was a good year?
An okay year, I'd say.
It was also the year.
For e-commerce, an amazing year. For our company, okay year. I think nobody can look at the COVID year and say, collectively, very few industries, it was an amazing year. But I think if you look at the online channel, it'll be a game changer for many businesses.
And you also transformed your shops to distribution centers, right? Just like Philip explained. Exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I think we
But
built,
you did it in a few weeks.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people talk about, and Philip talked about omni-channel, seamless. We've been talking about it for years in these type of forums. We've just done it in weeks, most retailers in the world. So what's had loads of millions of dollars of strategy investment, etc., we suddenly did it. So we had ring and collect. We had pick up in store. We had make an appointment and go to store. These are simple consumer journeys. So all we had to do was focus, and that was a journey. And then from our perspective, we almost ran out of capacity because our e-commerce distribution center had a finite capacity. We quickly went to 24/7, 3 shifts a day, and then we needed more capacity. And the obvious place to look was our people and our stores. So we made all our stores distribution centers, and we shipped where possible another 70% capacity. So that's enabled us to not necessarily invest as fast as we wanted to because we've got other routes to do it. So it's been really agile. And
But were there no problems at all?
There was problems, but what we did was, at every chance there was a solution, we just did it really, really quickly. Example, we put our delivery promise back a day. We were next day delivery in Holland. We said, no, we're not going to be. We're going to be next but one. 90% of orders still went next day, right? So customers were surprised and delighted. So the mantra we had was under promise, over deliver. Because in the e-com space, you get it wrong. Back in my Nike days in China, you're killed.
So, what can you take with you to 2021 and further on from this experience?
I think there's several things. I mean, one was having the right partners. You know, we worked to put DHL pickup points in our stores, and we really didn't have that high on the radar until COVID came. So having good partners like that's critical. We had a wholesale business with Jumbo. That's gone through the roof because supermarkets were where the traffic and the action was. So diversified distribution was another thing we'll take forward. And I think, you know, it's really allowed us to reflect on, as where Philip was talking, you know, what's the right balance between e-commerce and bricks and mortar as we move forward? And how much more can we double down on growth areas like e-com? Where can we invest faster, like our app, our mobile experience? There's loads of stuff we're now pushing on that.
And there are much more possibilities financially, because 2020 was also the year that the huge debt of HEMA disappeared almost completely.
It's quite paradoxical. In the year that was the most challenging from a retail and a consumer perspective, we reduced our debt by...
How does that affect your job?
It does affect my job a lot, really, because I think, you know, from my job's to control the channels and to be where the customer is, and we talked about that. My job's to motivate and inspire the teams, whether it be online, offline, and to obsess those journeys. I think that obviously gives us a much healthier position as a company and allows us to invest and really push forward, particularly in the Dutch market, where some of our stores weren't invested in that much in the prior years because, as Philip alluded to, private equity doesn't want to invest huge amounts of capital into store infrastructure.
How did you react in the international markets, in the countries that have HEMA shops? How was COVID for these countries?
Again, really varied. So we saw a huge shift from, if you take France, we are very Paris dominated. We have 60% brand awareness in Paris, yet we've hardly ever invested in any marketing. We have stores in Paris that were doing thousands per meter in stations. those stores had no traffic. So we actually started to see our business shift to suburbs, to stores that had never seen inherent capacity. So that was just shifting to where, again, consumers were. And therefore, we've seen that in most countries.
Yeah.
We've changed almost, it's a shift to convenience that's been accelerated.
But your job is also opening new markets, opening new stores, bringing HEMA around the world. Before COVID, the international strategy was expansion in the Middle East, India, Thailand, Malaysia, USA, Mexico. What's going to come of that now?
Well, we're going to continue with the partners that we have that are expanding us around the world, because our expansion model outside of Europe is still a partner model. So the Mexican partnership and the Dubai partnership. I think when you look here, closer in France and Germany, we'll make sure we do the right thing in terms of channel growth. E-commerce is where the potential is. There's no doubt.
Instead
about
of stores.
It's but I don't know whether we'll come through COVID and where Philip is. We need to see how the landscape settles down. Where are the opportunities? Not many people are opening a lot of great new stores at the moment, but there will be opportunities.
So how are you going to realize the growth, the international growth, online, e-commerce, without the projected amounts of stores?
Belgium, we're still quite low in penetration if you look at it as compared to Holland. So there's a huge opportunity in Belgium. France, what a big e-commerce business it is, much bigger, as we know, than the Benelux. Huge opportunity. So we see there's huge growth.
So how can you do that?
Where we started, the capacity in our supply chain has been increased dramatically. If we can leverage that and give customers an even better proposition, they will buy, return, and then we'll just keep the virtuous circle going.
But how are you going to find your online customers, your e-commerce customers in these foreign markets?
Well, we have a lot of customers already there, but the brand awareness is already extremely high, and we have to be where they are. So in Holland,
in Malaysia, in Thailand?
We haven't started in Thailand, Malaysia.
No.
That was just
the strategy before COVID.
That was a prospective option. Yeah, I mean, it was something we could say. It's not that was. It's not the strategy. But we did, to be fair, go online in the US. With Walmart.com. That's just a good trial and sample.
With Walmart?
You test and learn a lot. They were very keen to have
What did it teach you?
Taught us about our product differentiation in that market has many advantages, but also there's some disadvantages. You can't sell bedding there, it's different sizes. So we've learned a lot from that experience. I think, though, if you go back to the core markets, there's still a huge amount of growth. We could go onto marketplaces and have a much bigger .com business.
So the United States is difficult. Is it?
It's a challenging market to enter for certain. But online was just a good way we could test and learn, and that's what the purpose of the trial was.
You're not in the United States.
We are. We're with Nordstrom's. We're with ASOS. We're with Amazon, and we're just about to launch at the end of this year. We'll have our own website there. I mean, same as Richard. If you look at it, we created a couple of new divisions. We never did wholesale beforehand. This year, our wholesale orders are well in excess of 25 million for a business that's less than 3 years old, throwing off huge profit margins. We've really rapidly grown concessions in terms of digitalization with Zalando, ASOS, About You, and we're really heavily linked into marketplaces through Anatwine and Channel Engine. So we really heavily invested in the APIs to link all that together.
But how well known is your brand in the United States?
Yes. We get more than 3 million visitors from the US to our website every year, and that's partly down to Doubtser. So she was based in the US for a long period of time before she came back with Sunnery, and when we were doing all the big collaborations with her, she already built up, or through her, it built up already a demand there. We don't have a physical store in the UK. The UK will be in excess of 10 million turnover for us this year, and we don't have a physical store there. And it's that's one of the focuses that we're doing a huge amount of work with brand ambassadors in the UK. We're going to have over 300 brand ambassadors alone in the UK, because we really also believe that's a marketplace. And we're number one in Holland, we're number one in Belgium, number one in Luxembourg, number one in Germany, number one in Scandinavia, number 2 in Austria, and our plan is to be number 1 in Austria. So there's lots of opportunity for us. So we see we're growing very rapidly in Russia. But in most of the countries we're in, we're already number one. There's only a couple that we're not number one. And our whole thing is to get to number one. We want to be the Coca-Cola, not the Pepsi-Cola. And then we just find the next market. And the next market is the UK, but only digital. It's Russia through digital and physical, and it'd be the US through digital.
Do you like his Tom Poes?
What?
Do you know, are you familiar with
no.
The Tom Poes is... what is a Tom Poes? How do you explain Tom Poes?
I call it vanilla cream slice. That's what the UK people call it, but it's it's the national cream cake.
Oh, okay.
We actually did 1 million units
Really?
this Monday.
Wow.
Half of those are online.
Okay.
The
Orange Tom Poes. We actually sold 1 million units off the press. So we see how heartfelt that is within the Dutch population.
The Dutch market.
And we actually were able to really, and we come back to e-commerce. We ordered pastry online to click and collect in store, and it's fantastic.
Can you sell them abroad?
No, can't. They're not the
No?
Well, you can, but it's an expensive chore change. I don't think we need to be selling overseas. But who knows? We go over the border in Belgium one day. But
But these are the typical products of HEMA are so Dutch. Who wants a rookworst in Dubai? Nobody, because there's pig in it, of course.
The inherent brand is Dutch heart. But there is still product, if you take stationery, study, gifting, that work brilliantly in Antwerp, brilliantly in Paris. So there's still an opportunity there, but there's still a huge amount of opportunity in Holland.
You don't do food, right?
We do in Belgium.
Okay.
Yeah, and we do food internationally. We do ambient food internationally. Yeah.
What would make 21 a good year for you?
To put people back safely to normal patterns of shopping, that HEMA can fulfill their daily lives a lot easier than they have in the last couple of years. Because
do you think we'll go back to before?
No, I don't think we'll ever go back to where we were before in any way, shape or form, but I think that there will still be a normalisation of people, and I'm right with where the guys were. People still want experience, they still want to go and pick stuff up, they still want to cycle to where they want to do a little bit of shopping. Will people still buy more online? Of course they will. Will every retail industry be disrupted by online more? Of course it will. But it's the profitability of online is interesting. We are one of the only very few value variety retailers that does online at scale. You look at Action, you look at other people don't even have a site or have a very limited site or just moved into click and collect. Look at Primark. How long can Primark last not being online? So I think the whole, if you're asking me, I think the whole thing is going to shift.
And for you personally, what is your goal in 2021?
Oh, that's a great question. I've not really thought. I think to actually travel a bit more, to go back to where I was.
To travel
but both business-wise and personally. I'd like to go back to that, to keep it fit and healthy, and then from a business perspective, grow the business as fast as we can.
Okay, Rodney, and for you, what do you think about 2021? What would make it a very good year for you?
I just want to see that the world opening up again. It sounds really strange, but I'm not really thinking about business. I'm just thinking about, I just want people to be healthy and happy now. You see so much sadness around you. We're very lucky, I think. Everybody here is very lucky, but a lot of people aren't. And if you see people with mental health issues and just getting everybody to that spot that where we were before, then my year is successful. I don't have to be, I don't have to be a part of that. Just let the world get back to normal. That's.
And you're moving.
Yeah, but that's of course. Just doing some fun stuff along the way. That's always good.
For you, Philip.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a daughter that's 26 who summarised it and said, if you look at it, my life has been restricted for 2 years, which is basically 8% of my life has been ruined. Yeah. You think about all those kids that really want to get out again and experience the world. I'd like the world. I'm the same as Richard and Rodney. I don't think the world will rapidly go back to exactly where it was before. I think it will be very different. We always thought that we would really super grow digital and we would focus on flagships. And then how the structure of society has has changed. We've seen real demise in flagships and real strength back in our provincial stores. I think high streets will change. I think we've seen lots of change in Germany, a bit here where we've seen big businesses go bankrupt. So the format of high streets will change. I think food will come in. There will be different things. I hope that more independents will come in and there will be more variety on the high street. It becomes more interesting for retail, for consumers to go to a high street and be interested. I think they've become all too similar, and I think I think it will create change that will actually take the business forward. I think big cities will be the biggest issue for all retailers for the next sort of 18 months, and then let's hope we get back to normality.
And for you personally?
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I have always spent my life travelling. I'm the chairman of a business in Hong Kong, also one in Shanghai. And my life has always been about travel.
Now you're stuck in Amsterdam.
No, I know. Equally, I have to be honest with you. I've lived in many cities. I lived in Milan before this, and Hong Kong, etc. I've never been so happy in my life living in Amsterdam. But I would like to go somewhere else for a few weeks. But I have to be honest with you. I do really love it. It's not a city I like as much as this one.
Suzanne, did we meet your expectations?
Actually, you did. You all performed very well. It really superseded my expectations. And to reward you, I've brought a glass of champagne.
That's wonderful.
Let's start with the
This was Webhelden 2021. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.